Because I said go for it.
That's what you say go for it. If you just go out.
I know what we should do is just have you standing there and me saying all that and then go, let's go.
Fucking hard.
I know.
Okay, welcome back to the channel. The last few videos have been very specialist, and as we're tuning cars, fabricating parts and building it with engine swaps. So we thought we're going to start doing a quick series of videos on how-tos, mainly on essential maintenance and basic repairs on Hondas. This Civic Type R FK8 needs an oil change, so this is a quick guide on how to do an oil change on the FK8. Okay, first things first, you're going to need your parts. So the car takes 5.4 quarts or 5.12 litres of oil. The grade Honda recommend is 0.20, and this car we're actually putting 0.30 just to up the grade, just to give it a little bit more protection from when the oil's warm. So you'll need 6 litres of oil. Next thing is your filter. You're going to need your genuine filter. We always use genuine filter. Part number 4 is 15400-PLM-A02. That's your filter, and you'll also need your sump washer, which you can get from your dealer or Honda specialist whenever you're buying the filter and the oil. Your oil filter tool. Now we have the Honda oil filter tool. You don't necessarily need it on the FK8, you will for the FK2, but you can use a filter strap, or if the filter for some reason, say it's a high mileage car, the filter's stuck, it's been a long time since we changed, you can use the filter claw, take it off, but usually they come off easy enough with the filter claw. Best to have the Honda tool. Next thing you're going to need is you're going to need your 17mm spanner to remove and refit your sump bung. We're using it in this video to remove the oil filter. You can use a ratchet with a 17mm socket on it as well. You'll also need a Phillips head screwdriver and straight edge screwdriver to remove the cover. And so that's everything that you should need to be able to perform an oil change on the FK8. Okay, so first thing you want to do is you want to lift the car up in the air. I'm lucky I have the luxury, we have a lift in all our workshop. There's other people doing this with a jack and axle stands. So if you're using a jack, the main jacking point is, as you can see here, you'd usually put either a rubber pad or a block of wood on your trolley jack, and then obviously use this bit of thick metal here that sort of hangs down. You can see where obviously we have a ramp like positioned. You'd usually position the jack point there. Problem being then is where to put your axle stand. It's best to position it where this rubber pad is, this reinforced cross member here. That, put the axle stand on there, on both sides there, and that will hold the car then safe. Just make sure whenever you have the car let down off the jack on axle stand, you give the car a bit of a quick shake. Make sure you still have the jack positioned underneath the car somewhere in case it was accidentally to fall for some reason you don't mount it correctly. Axle stands all ready to go, engine's warm. So next thing you do is need to remove this cover. You have 2 Phillips head screws there, and then straight edge screws. You have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 straight edge screws, and the cover will just slide out. So all the screws are out, which is actually really good design on Honda's part. They've actually put these tabs on the actual cover so that when you take the last screw out, it doesn't fall down, especially if you're going to be landing your back in your driveway doing this. You have to get the cover, grab it, pull it back, it just lifts out. So next step is removing the sump bung. Now, one thing I will warn you before the sump bung, if the engine's been up to temperature running and you turned it off and the car's up position, it's going to be roasting hot. My advice, first thing is crack the bolt, make sure it's loose, and then take your time taking it out. Make sure you've got a reasonable sized pan to drain the oil into, because you're going to have, because nearly 6 litres coming out, so make sure whatever you have is more than 6 litres. So crack the bolt, pretty simple. I'd hold it with one hand, and that way you're not just going to throw it all out. Now that this tool's showed you at the start of the video, you'll need your oil filter tool to remove it. You can remove these with a filter strap, but it's really, really tight. We advise you use the Honda tool. So all you'll need is your Honda tool and either a 17mm socket on the 3/8 ratchet or a 17mm spanner. Just use your tool and turn the filter. Make sure you have your pan positioned underneath it, so when oil starts to come out, do something to catch it. So we usually loosen it off because the oil will start to come out of the filter as well. Loosen it off several turns, don't take it completely off, and you'll see it start. The oil start to roll out. Your best is to let it sit and drain, just to stop you getting oil all in your face. Fucking hell. The face of the filter housing, put a wee smear of oil on the seal of the filter and then screw it on by hand. Okay, so oil filter's on. Next thing is your sump bung and a new sump bung washer. Put it on. Same as just reverse of removal. Put it on, put the washer on. 7mm spanner and give it a nip. It's an aluminium sump, don't swing on it, you'll wring it off. Just give it a slight nip with a spanner. I've got plenty of leverage in that. Slight nip, just till you feel it tighten, that's enough. Just make sure you know it's definitely tight. Your filter's on tight, your sump bung's tight. Get your cover back on with screws, make sure your screws are all tight. You're probably best actually to put a little bit of grease on the screws, just for you ever go to give the car an oil change next time, and they won't be as tight. We did see a little bit of corrosion on the bolts. Okay, and then get it on. Next thing is get it on the level ground and start topping your oil up. Funnel, very simple. Put it on the top of the rocker cover. Pour your oil in. Car's on a level surface. What I'm going to do, because we know it takes over 5 litres, we're just going to go ahead and put all 5 litres in at once. Then we're going to start the car, which will fill the oil filter up. Then we're going to let the car sit, and then we're going to start checking the level. Whenever you've drained the oil out of the car, don't throw it down the drain. Don't take it to a proper waste disposal. The majority of recycling centres, you can take your engine oil to it. You're going to have just over 5 litres, so you could even put it back into your old container, the majority of it, and take it down and dispose of it properly. Okay, so whenever you're topping the oil up, make sure it's always on the maximum level. Try not to get it over, because ideally you should really drain the oil back out again to have it, but try and always keep it at the maximum level. Okay, so we've put the full 5 litres into the engine, we've ran it, made sure the oil light goes out, so obviously you know everything's tight. And next thing we're going to do is start checking, dipping it for the level. Okay, you can see there it's just under halfway between the minimum and the maximum. So we're going to let the car sit for another few minutes, and then we're just gently going to top it up bit by bit until we get to where we need to be. Okay, so effectively that's an oil change on FK8 Type R. We will be making more of these videos. If there's any information or technical videos you'd like to see, because we are working on these cars, every other day, hit us in the comments. We'll answer you and give you as much information as we can. Or if there's any other videos on general maintenance you'd like to see, let us know in the comments as well.
That's it.
That's us.